From Denver's 7, this is 7 News.
Well, it is a story that will take you on a roller coaster of emotions.
Coming up a little later on 7 News at 11, the authors of Out of the Canyon talk about surviving the loss of family and learning to find love again. Welcome back to 7 News at 11. How do you patch your life back together after experiencing a painful tragedy?
It's something we can learn about in Out of the Canyon, a true story of loss and love by Art and Allison Daily. And the authors join us in the studio today. We're so delighted to have you here. You live in Aspen and you're in Denver for a book signing. We'll talk about that. But before we get to the lessons that you've learned, people need to understand just how far you've come, Art. So talk about the tragedy that befell your family.
It began 14 years ago in Glenwood Canyon. I was driving home from a hockey game that one of my boys had played in Vail. I was driving home with my wife Kathy and my sons Tanner and Shay. And suddenly a boulder fell from the high canyon walls and crushed the Suburban I was driving and killed Kathy and the boys and left me untouched.
And devastated.
Devastated. Everything, it seemed like everything in my life had just been taken away in that one swift moment.
And you also had your own tragedy.
I did. 5 years before his accident, my brother had committed suicide. And I had to tell my parents what had happened, so it was very hard.
I'm sorry for both of you guys' losses here, but you know, you came together, obviously, and tell us how you met.
Well, you know, because I had lost my brother, I was really sensitive to other people's loss, and so I heard about his accident, and I wrote him a letter, and I brought a tape of songs, and I signed the letter "A Friend." I didn't think it was important that he knew who I was, so I took it to the postmaster, and I said, I need to mail this to the man who lost his family. He made me put a P.O. box number on the outside of the envelope because of federal law for bombs and things, so I mailed it to him, and shortly after that, he wrote back to a friend. And many of the songs on the tape had been Kathy, his wife's favorite songs.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, before meeting each other, did you ever, each of you, think that you would get beyond that pain that you experienced?
In the early days, it consumed me from the moment I woke up in the morning till I went to sleep at night. And it didn't look like, there was a time when it looked like there wasn't much to look forward to in life. And I didn't know whether how I was going to make it and what it was going to look like.
But you did make it. And you wrote this book. Was this to help the two of you heal, or was it to help other people?
Started out to preserve the story for our boys, you know, so they know the whole story and the truth of it. And as we began to weave our stories together, and we wrote this in alternating voices, we began to see that maybe there was something more important here. That there was a message that maybe would be of benefit to others who had also experienced loss.
How challenging was it to put it in words, or was it a healing process for both of you too?
Well, I mean, I believe it was healing. It was very healing for me. It was hard to find the right words. You have to go back and you have to sort of relive those moments. But for me, I feel like I was very much healed by the experience of writing it down.
And Art mentioned you did this for your boys.
Yes.
We should tell people that now, miraculously, after losing two boys, you now have two boys who are in the studio with us now. Yeah. They're waving to us, but the viewers at home are looking at their picture on camera.
Yeah.
But it's really important, though, to honor the memory of the people you lost.
Absolutely.
Help us understand why it's so important.
Well, I think it's it's part of the healing process. I think that's how you keep them a part of your lives and you remember them and you honor their memory, and that's what this book is about. It's about honoring Kathy and Shay and Tanner.
I'm sure
and Rod, but especially the three of them.
I'm sure it's been a journey for both of you guys together to come to this point. So any advice or anything you can say to those who might be going through the same thing you guys have gone through?
You know, there was a very short poem that somebody gave me that during the dark days that really made a difference to me. And it's very brief. It reads, "Dawn approaches, another one. Do what you can." And that sort of defined for me what each day was like. I did all I could, but no more than I could do. And that helped, because that way I didn't have expectations that I was supposed to do more, or that I'd let myself down.
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of thing, that simple things like that that kept me moving.
One step at a time. Well,
Exactly.
we hope that bringing you here today and talking about your book and letting people know that they can meet you and get their book signed at the Tattered Cover tonight at 7:30 will help other people. We know there are other people out there who are suffering, and you do grief counseling. They can talk to you tonight. Again, that's at Tattered Cover at 7:30 at Colfax and Elizabeth. And our hearts go out to you. All the best to you as
Thanks very much.
you continue
Thank you so much
to recover.
for being here. Appreciate it.